Now, one of my favorite things about the game of basketball is that from a surface level, it's something that is very easily enjoyed and entertaining, but at the same time, it's a sport that has so many nuances and there's so many things that make up the game of basketball. And I think one of the more important nuances is when we look at the difference in competition at every level. And a lot of professional players will tell you that the biggest jump in competition is whatever level you play at before you get to the NBA. The jump in the skill gap, whether it's playing overseas or whether it's playing at the collegiate level, when you get to the NBA, your peers become so much better because they're just getting that much smarter, that much taller. Guys are becoming a lot more athletic, and the game is just being processed and played at a much faster level. And sometimes we see guys come into the NBA and they make their debuts, they might struggle because it is a big adjustment for all of those reasons. And then we have those freaks in NBA history that come into the NBA and they just set the league on fire, making it look easy, making it look like they've been in the league for the last 5 or 6 years. And the Philadelphia 76ers, they had the number 3 overall pick in the 2025 NBA drafts, and they were able to bring in one of those freaks that just come into the league and make it look like they've been doing it for the last 5 or 6 years. And with that number 3 overall pick, they drafted VJ Edgecombe from the University of Baylor. He came in, he looked good in the summer league, he looked good in the preseason, and he carried that momentum over to opening night for the Philadelphia 76ers on the road against the Boston Celtics, where he came in and made NBA history. VJ Edgecombe put his name in some elite company. He breaks LeBron James' record for the most points in a debut first quarter by a rookie. LeBron James' record was 12 points. VJ Edgecombe, he scored 14 points in the first quarter against the Boston Celtics. He was able to take this strong start and carry it throughout the game, help leading his team to a victory, scoring 34 points. And this 34 points was good enough for the third most by a rookie in a debut in NBA history. And also his 34 points, it breaks the franchise record of Allen Iverson for most points by a rookie in his debut. So a night filled with excitement for the Philadelphia 76ers, but also let me say a night filled with a lot of hope, because before the NBA draft lottery, things were not looking the brightest for the Philadelphia 76ers, with Paul George having a very lucrative contract but not performing up to it and not being the healthiest, and then also Joel Embiid aging and with his knee injury and also making a lot of money. Wasn't the ideal situation for the Philadelphia 76ers. And then they hit the draft lottery, and now VJ Edgecombe, with what he just displayed to us, what we know, what we know about him, what kind of guy he want to be. We know he had the famous quote saying that him and his mom, they lived off of a generator. That let us know right there how hungry he is. So we know he wants it, and then he came out and had this type of performance. This gives the Philadelphia 76ers a lot of hope and a lot of flexibility, going forward. And back to the main task at hand, VJ Edgecombe. This was a tremendous pickup for the Philadelphia 76ers, and it's crazy. I actually made a video right before the summer started. It's kind of similar, or not before the summer started, but right after the NBA draft, and it's kind of going to be similar to this one. But I talked about how the Philadelphia 76ers selecting VJ Edgecombe, and I read about him, and I started looking at his footage and stuff, and I'm like, oh my God, he pairs so well with Tyrese Maxey. These guys could be a really dangerous backcourt. Now that I think they would come in and immediately look this good together. Now that's what I was so impressed with. As good as VJ Edgecombe was, as great as an individual night that he had, I was also impressed between the chemistry and the synergy between him and Tyrese Maxey. And that's another thing that I read about when making the video over the summer, is that Tyrese Maxey, he spoke very fondly about VJ Edgecombe. And I want to say, and I want to say this again, I feel like if Tyrese Maxey, he seems like such a genuine guy to me, and his energy just always seems so pure. I feel like if he speaks highly of you, and then at the same time, if he speaks lowly of you, I think it means a lot, because he seems like a very genuine dude. And he spoke very fondly of VJ Edgecombe. He talked about his skill set, and then also he he spoke about his work ethic. And then another thing to consider about this duo before we get to what they did on the court against the Boston Celtics, but these two guys both have a tremendous work ethic. So I think Tyrese Maxey bringing up VJ Edgecombe's work ethic, that says a lot, because Tyrese Maxey, you Philadelphia 76er fans know, since he's come into the NBA, the player that he was when he got drafted to the player that you seen last night, he's come such a long way. So now you have two guys in the backcourt who game synchronizes with each other, their personality synchronizes with each other, and their work ethic synchronizes with each other. When you have those three things flowing and they're both young, that's a very dangerous combination. Now to look at what these two young, amazing guys were able to do on the basketball court. They go on the road, they face the Boston Celtics. Now, it's not the same Boston Celtics that we've seen over the last couple of years, but still a very formidable opponent, still at TD Garden, a sold-out crowd that it looked like, it sounded like it was a sold-out crowd. And they still got Anthony Simons and Derek White and Jaylen Brown on the other side. So this is not no scrubs that the Philadelphia 76ers are playing against. And also, Joel Embiid did not have a Joel Embiid performance, and he only played 20 minutes on the night, and Paul George didn't play at all. So this is a shorthanded Philadelphia 76ers team as well. And these two guys come out and put on a show. They combined for damn near 80 points, 40 points on the night for Tyrese Maxey, and 34 points on the night for VJ Edgecombe. And watching these two guys operate, they were able to play off one of another. They were able to attack off of each other, and they both just did a great job of attacking the new Boston Celtics. And we look at this Boston Celtics roster now, no more Kristaps Porzingis, no more Al Horford, and also they're missing a 6'8", 6'9" guy in Jason Tatum. That's going to take their rim protection down a lot. And VJ Edgecombe, talking about being aggressive and talking about having great shot selection, knocking down 13 of his 26 shots on your rookie debut. That's how you let guys know that you're here and you're ready to play. So he comes in, he knocks down 5 of his 3-pointers as well, and then the 3-point shots that he was just taking what the defense gives him, knocking down catch and shoot threes. So big time scoring outputs by VJ Edgecombe and Tyrese Maxey. No other way to describe it than a dominant performance by these two guys. VJ Edgecombe, 14 points in the first quarter. Maxey comes back the second quarter to pour in 19 points. And then in the fourth quarter, both of these guys help bring it home for the Philadelphia 76ers. And I just think in this game that they displayed how well that their skill sets can complement each other. And I think what's going to take them so far and make them so hard to deal with is the athleticism that both of these guys possess. Tyrese Maxey, he is so fast with the basketball in his hands, and then VJ Edgecombe, the strides he can take with the quickness with the basketball in his hands, and then his relentlessness when it comes to getting downhill, that right there in itself is going to be very dangerous to deal with. And then we already just seen early in the game, just off some gravity stuff, Tyrese Maxey getting some very easy assists to VJ Edgecombe. Definitely seen him hit him for a 3, and also seen him hit him on a cut. So VJ Edgecombe, he showed that he can fill the spots, with guys like Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid. He can be that guy. He does not need the basketball all game to score. And then also he showed he could take initiative with the basketball in his hands, putting pressure on the defense to score the basketball. And then he also showed that he's a poised basketball player. He showed up in a big moment. It's not hard to win in the TD Garden in a situation like that. And then also on the defensive side of the ball, this works out well for Tyrese Maxey. He's going to take some pressure off him defensively. Now he's going to be able to guard the secondary player or the secondary scorer in the opposing team's backcourt, because now he has a defensive hound and VJ Edgecombe, who is just supremely athletic, so strong, built to play defense. So the Philadelphia 76ers, they got a big time draft pick in VJ Edgecombe, and I think he's going to take a little bit of stress and a little bit of pressure off of this franchise with the way he performs over the next few years. So you guys let me know what you think. Comment down below, leave a like if you enjoy, and then subscribe. Subscribe for more weekly content. We do this all the time, man. And that's curtains.